What's up, boys and girls? Today we'll be drawing Pikachu from Pokemon. Feel free to draw along and pause the video whenever you like to catch up with me. Let's take a look at the materials we'll be needing for this drawing today. We're going to need a pencil, eraser, a black marker, and some crayons for the color. So I also have a sticky roller here with me. This is optional, but it makes cleanup easier. Okay, before we go into the drawing, let's take a look at an example drawing of Pikachu and see what shapes and form we can use to help us create it. So, generally, I like to use a circle for the head of the character. And then from the head, I kind of can see like the proportion of the other parts of the body. So if I use my pencil as a measuring tool, I can see that for Pikachu, the body is about the length of the head. And then I can use the pencil again and see that the ears are just a little bit shorter. See? The ears are about the same length but a little bit shorter. So that gives me an idea of an overall proportion of Pikachu. And the body is actually in the shape of a box but wider at the bottom. You see that? And it's not a straight box. It's actually at an angle, if you can see. Actually, Pikachu's whole figure is aligned to a curve, a slight curve like that. So I'm going to follow my box along Pikachu's body and make the bottom wider. And we can round off the corners to make the legs. The arms are oval shapes, kind of like an egg. The left and the right arms. See? And the ears are in the shape of a leaf. See? Anchored at the two corners, top of the circle. Okay? And also, I always like to draw another line across the face. So I kind of get like a guideline of where to put the eyes, the nose, the mouth. Alright, and next let's take a look at the lighting, because we're going to color in the shadow. Now, from where the shadow is indicated on the drawing, we know that the lighting is coming from top down, because we have shadow here on the bottom of the ear, shadow here below the chin, shadow on the bottom part of the arm, right here, the tail, and the leg. Okay, so we can pretty much for sure know that the lighting comes from the top, and this is going to help us when we color, and when we color the shadow, it's going to help us. So, after studying shapes and form of Pikachu and the lighting, let's start our drawing. Okay, I'm going to place the head off center a little bit to the left. The reason why I do that is so that we would have room for the tail. I'm going to draw that curved line. Okay, and then draw the box for the body. Using my pencil as a measuring tool, kind of know that the body is about the same size as the face. Okay, and the box is wider along the bottom. Okay, draw another line here, and I'm going to put in my ears, and I'm going to use my pencil tool and find out the orientation or the angle of how the ears are. So here's the right, here's the left. Okay. Okay. And put in the arms. Here's the left arm. shape of an oval, kind of like an egg, and the right arm. Again, an oval shape, kind of like an egg. Round off the bottom corners of the box. And add little ovals for the feet. Okay, now the tail is in kind of like a zigzag shape, and then wider at one end and narrower at the other. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to draw that zigzag shape here. Narrower at one end, and the thicker at the other end. Okay, so we have the basic shape of Pikachu now. Let's start adjusting these basic shapes. Okay, so it looks more closely to Pikachu's actual shape. Okay, so first let's start with the face. I'm going to add in the cheeks, bump up the cheeks on each side. Okay. And the top of the head, it's a little bit flatter. The curve is a little bit flatter. Okay, I'm going to put in the nose. The nose is a little bit above the center of the circle. Right here. And then I'm going to add in the eyes. Okay, and put in the side cheeks. Again, using my guide, I can kind of know and locate where the cheeks are, about here and there. And then I'm going to put in the mouth. Okay. I'm going to start adding more detail, and you'll see that as I get further and further along the drawing, my pencil lines will slowly become darker and darker. In the beginning, I draw lightly, and as your lines become more definitive, you can make your stroke a little bit darker and darker. Okay, let's add in the arm right here. 5 fingers, got the thumb, and 4 little ones. Okay, and this hand as well, we got a thumb, and 4 little fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the arm comes back down here. I'm going to modify the curve of the box. Give it a little waist, and the waist connect to the leg, left leg and right leg. And then going to draw the little feet. I'm going to taper the oval at the end for the feet, so it looks more like feet, and draw in the toes. Okay. Let's refine the line work for the tail a little bit. See, the first time I put in the line, I'm not sure exactly if it needs to be exactly where it needs to be, but as I keep drawing, I know, okay, so I did put the line in the right location. I start going over it again. Okay, good. So now we have the basic line work of Pikachu. Okay, so next let's use our black marker and trace over the outline. Now when you're tracing the outline, keep in mind, pay attention to the area where shapes overlap. See how this line on the forehead is cutting into the line of the ear, indicating that The face is in front of the ear a little bit. And you'll find that all over the drawing. Here, 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 here. Okay? So I'm going to circle it. Right here, right here, right here. These are the areas that the artist is trying to express and indicate that shapes are in front of, one shape is in front of another. So we're going to keep that in mind and start tracing. Now when you're tracing a long line, it's okay. Oops. What? That's my timer telling me I need to draw faster. So when you're tracing these lines, it's okay. You don't have to like draw the entire line at once. You can always break it off somewhere you feel comfortable and then continue the line. And another thing I like to do is to trace from top to bottom and left to right. So just in case that I'm using a marker that is going to bleed through my paper or doesn't dry as fast, my hand would not smear it. And you can always rotate your paper if your marker gets in the way, or you're just tracing an area where that curve or line will be easier to draw if the paper is rotated. When I'm tracing, when I push harder on the marker, I'll get a thicker line. And when I push lighter, I'll get a thinner line. So if I have small detail like the toes and the foot, I would draw lighter. I wouldn't push down so hard. Okay, now the tail. Okay, so now we finished tracing the outlines. I'm gonna use my eraser and start erasing all the pencil line that we can still see after we trace the line work. Now if you're using a marker that doesn't dry as fast, I would wait about 2 minutes, let the marker dry. You know, some marker dries faster, some marker takes a long time to dry. So when you clean up these pencil lines, if you notice that some of the lines are smearing when you erase through it, that means the line work is not dry enough. And you don't have to use a pencil with the eraser on the tip, back tip. You can use like a separate eraser. I'm using this because I have this handy. That's the only reason. Okay, let's clean this up with our roller. Now you can always do this the old-fashioned way, to dust it off with your hands, shake it off. But I'm going to use a ruler because it's cleaner. Okay? Okay, now let's color it in. So for the colors for this drawing, I've chosen yellow for Pikachu's basic color, red for the tongue and the cheek, a brown for the deeper part of the mouth, deep down the throat, and this part of the tail. Plus, we're going to use this for the shadow of the body. Last but not least, a black. So I'm going to start coloring with the lightest color that I think in the drawing, which is the yellow. Okay. When you color, apply even pressure. The goal is to apply an even layer of color on your drawing. Now you don't want to push down too hard when you color. It's because we're going to add in another layer of color later on for the shadow. And it is because we trace the outline with the black marker, you'll notice that it is easier to color inside the lines. Okay, done with the yellow. Let's move on to the red. Okay, then the brown. Brown's gonna go inside the deeper part of the throat. And I'm going to use it for this part of the tail as well. So the first layer of color is done. Oh, actually, missed the black. So, the black. Okay. So now, the first layer of color is done. We're going to add in the second layer of color for the shadow, and then we're going to make some of the outlines thicker to pop out the character from the paper. Okay. I'm gonna use the brown again and just use my sample as a reference, see where all the shadow is, you know, underneath the ear, underneath the chin, okay, underneath the arm and the legs. Okay. So start with the ear. Okay, it's one ear. Another ear. Underneath the chin. And then underneath the arm. And the tail. Okay. Good. So we have, oh, I missed one shadow. Is this part of the tongue. I'm going to use the brown, overlay the red. To get that sense of darker shadow in there. Okay. Alright. Now before I use my marker again, I'll use my roller and clean it up again. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just trace around the outermost outline so it's thicker, and it's a technique I like, it's an optional for you, so that the character jumps off the page a little bit better. See how the face is in front of the arm? So I'll carry the line inside the body. Again, you can rotate your paper. It's going to help you make that line look better. So this step is also good practice for you to be able to tell which shape is in front of which. And since this whole arm is in front of the face, I'm going to make the line stick around the hand as well. And see how this hand is in front of the tail? So by outlining it darker, it will read more clearly that it's in the front. Okay, and there we have Pikachu. Okay, hope you guys like it. Remember to like and subscribe, and in the comment below, let me know what you would like to draw next. And I'll see you in the next video.